The following is a special presentation of the First Horizon Green Sports Zone. This is the Pizza Inn Eddie Spradlen Show.
Welcome back to First Horizon's Green Sports Zone, and welcome back to this week's edition of the Pizza Inn Eddie Spradlen Show, where we cover everything out here at beautiful Burley Stadium with the Greeneville football team. We'll recap last week's 62-7 win over Cherokee to pick up another Region 1 4A win for the Devils, and we'll talk about the bye week for the Green Devils after this quick break here on First Horizon's Green Sports Zone.
The Pizza Inn Eddie Spradlen Show is brought to you by Ashley Drug Center, IHOP at Davy Crockett TA Travel Center, Gateway Ford Nissan, Tommy's Plumbing, by Pizza Inn, and by First Horizon Bank.
Here's a twist on your typical banking options. What if instead of choosing between a big bank or a small bank, you had one bank that's the best of both? That's First Horizon. Big bank muscle with small bank hustle. Big bank convenience and small bank connection. When the best of big meets the best of small, you get it all. To help you on the road to your horizon. First Horizon Bank.
Welcome back to First Horizon's Green Sports Zone, and welcome back to this week's edition of the Pizza Inn Eddie Spradlen Show, where we cover everything out here at Burley Stadium with the Greeneville football team. As always, I'm joined here with Greeneville head coach Eddie Spradlen. Coach, how are we doing this early afternoon?
Man. Good.
A little chilly out here today.
It's about time for long pants.
I know. I wore long pants here, but I decided to take them off and go back to my normal wardrobe. If you watch the Sean Jones show, then you'll understand what I'm talking about. But it's a little chilly this morning. It's warmed up now. I put the sun behind us today.
Yeah.
I didn't put us in the sun today.
On our face there.
Yeah, you've got the hat on per usual. I never wear the hat out here, so I had to put the sun behind us today. But you had a little bit of downtime off from football. You've had the bye week this week. We're recording this on Friday now, the day that it'll be also uploaded. Hopefully you're watching today. If not, we are recording it on Friday at the end of your bye week. So we'll jump to that first and talk a little bit about it on the second half too. But how have you enjoyed your week without football?
You know, it's been good. You know, we've done something we've never done before. We let the kids have, you know, after we got done on Friday night, the kids have been off. You know, I've opened the weight room up a couple times, just let them come in. You know, some kids out here throwing the football around this morning, but you know, just let them relax a little. It's been a dang grind from, you know, we've had a tough preseason. You know, we scrimmage, you know, Farragut, Science Hill, and then playing in the 5-star prep jamboree. Then we've had a really tough schedule. Probably played two of our toughest non-conference games we've played the past few years in, you know, Upperman and Sevier County. So it's been a long grind and well-deserved break for the players, but for the coaches as well.
Let's talk about the football going back to last Friday night also with Cherokee. You get another home game here after that game last 2 Thursdays ago with Sevier County, and you return home for region action and you pick up right where you left off in region action with another win. Big 62-7 win over a good Cherokee team, over a much improved Cherokee team. So what did it take to get the job done against them on Friday night?
You know, a big thing, we talked about how we're going to respond. You know, I kind of knew how that group would respond. It's a tough a group of young men that have done everything we've asked them to do, and they come out and they started. Told them before, somebody's got to start the party for us and let's get it going early, and that's what we got on last Friday night. And those kids played hard for 4 quarters. Didn't matter who was in. Anytime you can score 49 points in the half against a really good football team like that, it says a lot about the kids being prepared and them dialed in, ready to go.
And then going through Caden Ball's stats, he had a night that some quarterbacks that play all 4 quarters wish that they could have. He played one half of football, had 221 passing yards with 3 touchdowns, 9 rushes, 124 yards, and 2 more touchdowns. So right there, that's 345 combined yards, 5 combined touchdowns in only one half of play. I think he came into the Sevier County game, played one of his better games. Do you think the end of that Sevier County game and how it ended kind of motivated him to really play his best ball against Cherokee?
You know, I think a lot of factors going in the Cherokee game. You know, his dad was the head coach there for 4 years, so
okay.
he, you know, he was grew up with a bunch of those kids. But you know, at the end of the day, he's dialed in every game, and that's what we've got from him all year. You know, you go back and talk about stats from game to game. There's been 9 for 9 or 11 for 12. You know, the whole year. He's probably got less than 15 incompletions on the season in 7 games, so it's pretty impressive him throwing the football. He's not making any dumb decisions with the ball. He's being smart with it. If it's not there, he's taking off and running. There's a couple times the other night he scrambles and hit Kane Ricker for a touchdown. We tried to hit a tight end up the seam, and he was covered, so he started to run, made a great decision on, he saw Kane open and was able to make a good throw to him in the end zone. But playing really good football right now.
I meant to your point also, I meant to look that up on the way here. I was thinking about Caden's completion percentage, because it's got to be an ungodly percentage because of the games that he's had, like this 13 of 14, 9 of 9. He had one earlier this year, I think 13 of 15. So he's had games where he's been 80, 90 plus in completion percentage, and I don't think he's had a bad game passing all year. So his completion percentage has got to be up there as one of the highest in the state.
Yeah, and it's against a good competition,
yes,
too. He's doing that against good football teams. Hats off to him. He's put in a ton of work, extra work, a lot of work on his own with the receivers. They'll come in and throw a lot on their own and do stuff. And Sunday evenings kind of give them an opportunity to come in here and just let loose and do stuff on their own, not coached up, or they're just doing it on their own to get better. And you can see the results on Friday nights. And one thing on our Thursday morning. It's not really a walkthrough, but our Thursday morning practices, it's fast paced, everything's full speed. But I count the incompletions during that time, and it's probably the whole season on Thursday. We're probably throwing it 20, 25 times during that session, and it's been less than probably. I don't know that he's thrown more than 2 incompletions. Per, when we have it, a lot of times he's 100%. So it's all paying off, all the hard work.
And he stuffed the stat sheet with numbers. What he also stuffed the stat sheet with was names, because you got a lot of names in on Friday night with scoring, with stats. I know we always try to talk about Zayden Anderson. He doesn't get a touchdown, but 4 receptions, 43 yards. And you talk about some touchdown scores. You have Kane Ricker that catches 1. You have Cole Franklin that catches 1. You have Taryn Clarity that catches 1. You had Jude Dyer that got into the end zone. Deion Phipps gets into the end zone. Parker Quillen gets a passing touchdown to Braylon Kidwell. So Jordan Mills rushes for a touchdown. All types of names filled the stat sheet on Friday night. It wasn't just a performance where you had Caden having 5 touchdowns and then Zayden having 3 and Taryn having 2. You had just a complete list of scores the other night. So how good was that to pick up a big region win and to have everybody contribute like that?
Anytime, the more people you get involved, the better. Continue to spread the football around. We got a lot of talent on offense. You name. Right now, I think we got 5 running backs or 6 running backs that I feel like we can win games with. So, and then you have to talk about all the receivers. Then, we talked about it a couple times, but a big addition to getting Colt Smith back at tight end has really opened up what we're doing on offense, and him being able to, extra blocker, and he, catches the football really good in space as well. But you got to be, a lot of people put in tight ends and all they're in there to block, but he can get down the field and get open and catch the football. So really able to get a lot of those guys involved. And a lot of times we'll joke about it, but we ain't got enough footballs to get everybody the touches we need on here.
You're not wrong at all there. And I know that Jude Dyer also, you've got so many names that scored on Friday night that I'm even skipping over him. Jude Dyer with a touchdown, only 4 rushes and 27 yards, but he gets into the end zone. It was a great night in the rushing department. Not only do you have 2 rushing touchdowns from Caden Ball that we mentioned, but Jude gets into the end zone, Deion gets in the end zone, Jordan gets in the end zone. So you had, I think, 5 rushing touchdowns, and you had 4 different players score those rushing touchdowns. And I know establishing the line of scrimmage and running the ball is kind of what Greeneville has made their offense to be the last few years, and to have that many players score in the rushing department on Friday night, that's special.
Yeah, for sure. And it starts with, like you said, it starts up front with what we got on the offensive line. We're going they're going to take us how far we're going to go, just be able to win that line of scrimmage, and a lot of those guys playing on the defensive line as well. But really proud of how hard they're playing, really physical. It's a really athletic group that moves really good, which helps a lot. But you know, the other night we started off with Maddox, and Maddox run the football, did a really good job running it. Then we were able to get Cole Franklin in the end zone. So after that, we were able to, you know, we went with Jude, let him. And then after we were up pretty good, we're like, we're going to take it easy on these guys. Let's let some other guys get some carries in that first half. And we were able to get some other guys in the end zone.
And that's the next question I was going to lead into. How encouraging was it to go, I guess, into the first half also and put some of those guys in there and then roll that over into the second half and see the same success from those guys that don't see the field as much as the starters do?
Yeah, you know, we come out there and we got, you know, the backup offensive lines in there, and we started let Kane go one series at quarterback, and then you know, Dion, the first play goes about 60 yards for a touchdown. So, you know, Kane one play at quarterback, then we got him out. We was like, we ain't gonna take a chance anymore. So, but really proud of Dion. He's a kid, if you watch him on film, he plays lights out anytime he gets an opportunity. Playing really good on defense as well. Great on special teams for us. You know, he's a kid that's continued to get better from week to week, and is going to have to help us in some big games down the road.
And as always, we've got to talk about the defense, only holding Cherokee to 7 points all game in 4 quarters. Once again, the defense steps up in big ways, only holds another region opponent to 7 points. So, of course, you're happy about that. How happy were you with how they played from start to finish?
You know, especially that first half, you know, holding them, you know, 49-0 at halftime against a really good offensive team that scored a lot of points. We talked about that last week. They scoring a lot of points in games, and you know, able to that quarterback, and they've got two really good receivers, and that running back's really a good player. Hate to see him go down, but in that game, but he was able to come back on the sidelines with them. But you know, for us, and we're rolling a lot of bodies in there too on defense during that game, getting a lot of people in there and resting some of them D-line guys and rotating some linebackers. So a lot of people getting in there, and no change on keeping them out of the end zone.
Seems like we got a guest over here with us. That was the loudest bird I've heard out here in Burley. But you pick up a 62-7 win over Cherokee, moving into this week's bye week that we've already completed. We'll talk about it a little bit in the second half, though. But as always, we need to get a word in from our sponsors first. So thank them for being loyal supporters here at First Horizons Green Sports Zone. We'll hear from them and be right back here on the Pizza and Eddie Spradlen Show.
Here's a twist on your typical banking options. What if, instead of choosing between a big bank or a small bank, you had one bank that's the best of both? That's First Horizon. Big bank muscle with small bank hustle. Big bank convenience and small bank connection. When the best of big meets the best of small, you get it all. To help you on the road to your horizon. First Horizon Bank.
Pizza Inn presents I Ate at Pizza Inn. I ate pizza at Pizza Inn. I ate a salad at Pizza Inn.
I ate pizza!
I ate it all. Hi, I'm Kyle, and I'm inviting you to come and enjoy Greeneville's favorite hometown pizza, pasta, salad, and dessert buffet for just $8 all day, Monday through Friday. And then you can say,
we all ate at Pizza Inn.
Tommy's Plumbing has been in business for 30 years, and we're still growing because we treat our customers like family. We are proud to do any job from kitchen faucet installation to a complete home repipe. Tommy's Plumbing offers warranties on most products installed by our technicians. When the job is done, our friendly professionals make sure to clean up. We invite you to visit our new showroom in Jonesboro to see our quality products for yourself. Tommy's is the only one to call when you need a fast, reliable, professional plumber in the Tri-Cities.
Win or lose, it's a family tradition. "24-hour hot breakfast, cold drinks, and a table big enough for the whole team, or just your team." IHOP at Davy Crockett Travel Centers. Breakfast that brings you back. Open 24/7 right off I-81, exit 36. Welcome back to First Horizons Green Sports Zone, and welcome back to this week's edition of the Pizza and Eddie Spradlen Show, where we cover everything on the turf here at Burley Stadium with the Greeneville Green Devils. As always, I'm joined here with Green Devil head coach Eddie Spradlen. So, you take your bye week. We talked about it a little bit in the beginning of the first half, but I want to hear your side of it a little bit. So you talked about going on vacation a little bit, giving them time off. So how was your vacation this week going camping in Pigeon Forge?
It was good. You know, you get an opportunity to get away. You know, it's a long grind to this point. You know, you're putting in, 6 days a week. You're normally here doing something with us meeting on Sundays. And then, on that Saturday, I'm normally doing football as well. But it is nice just to put everything aside and say, we're going to take the week off. Coaches, I sent them a text on Sunday morning and said, this is going to be the last message you hear from me for a while. Enjoy it. So, coaches were able to get away or just relax a little. And, we were able to, I've got a camper and like just get away and was able to go down there and just relax for 3 or 4 days just to get away. And then back here, get a couple days in the weight room. And then we'll get after it this Sunday with the little stuff, and we'll get a little practice in, just get a little work this weekend.
How beneficial is it to have that bye week fall on fall break? Because I can't remember thinking back to the last few years if you've always had your bye week on fall break, but I know it's beneficial in a lot of ways. So how beneficial to you is it to have that bye week on fall break here between important region games with Cherokee and Volunteer?
Especially, falling on fall break, you don't have to worry about school. Next year it's not going to fall that way for us. It's just how our schedule, when we're able to set that schedule, we can set it that first week. The first year we get to set when that bye week is. So we try to get it on fall break. Just, I want the kids to be kids and enjoy the experience. And at the same time, I want them to be dang hungry when it matters. When we start back, you got to be as hungry as you've ever been for this football team to continue to play. How bad do you want it right now? It's going to be, a little motto just because you get now, if you don't win these games, you're going to put yourself in a bad situation. Then you get in a tough row in the playoffs.
And going down the schedule too, we'll talk about it just a little bit more. Won't talk about Volunteer yet. We'll save that until next week. But you've got Volunteer on the road and then finish with 2 home games with Granger and that ever important game with Elizabethton here at home. That's something that we always talk about at the beginning of the year. In the preview edition, I mention it as much as I can. You want to be Region 1 4A champions. The road leads to that last game with Elizabethton, and so far each teams have handled business so far, but you've got to handle business with Volunteer and Granger first. So you're at the point in your schedule now where you have no more non-region games. It's all region games here in the back third of the schedule. So what's the mindset going into these last 3 games after the bye week?
Like I said, we got to be as committed as we've ever been, and I hope they're as hungry as they've been. There's not been any question this team's motivation. It's a really tight group and played really good football up to this point, but you give them a week off to let them heal up and hopefully get that hunger going even stronger when we get back. So we'll get back at it on Sunday, see and get them worked in, get a lift in the weight room, do a little stuff out on the field, then start. We're out of school again on Monday, but we'll practice on Monday. Got a JV game on Monday, but excited where we are at this point, but really looking forward to the next couple weeks.
Wrapping up the bye week now. Of course, you got Volunteer next week. We usually tell you to go support the Green Devils, but there's no Green Devil football to support tonight. It's a rare Friday night off, so don't show up to Burley Stadium tonight. You won't even be able to get in. There will be nobody here. You'll find a good parking spot tonight if you get here, but nobody will be here to see you, to let you in or play football. But unless there's anything else you've got to add, I believe that's all I got for you this week.
Appreciate it, man. Go Devils.
Absolutely. It's October now.
Oh, yeah.
Hopefully you got the long sleeve on this week. We'll start adding more layers on as we go now, as it starts to finally feel like football weather out here. But that's all we got for you this week. So thank you all for watching this week's edition of the Pizza and Eddie Spradlen Show. Look forward to seeing you next time here on First Horizon's Green Sports Zone.